Hey everybody, it's me, John Anthony Chihak Soltero. I am the anti-hero, and I am here with a monster haul of books that I picked up in the last week or that have just arrived from the last week. So wanted to just go over with you pretty much everything in here. So these are some books that I picked up from the store just right now. My LCS. I got Wonder Woman 84 Museum Mayhem. I believe this is the one that's going to be debuting the new Brazilian Wonder Woman, or at least starting in the future state stories for DC. I also got Wonder Woman 765, the B cover by Joshua Middleton. If you're not buying it for anything else, like this is just a beautiful photorealistic cover, and just in awe of stuff like that because that's not my style at all. And then Batman Beyond 48, the A cover, where Booster Gold takes Batman Beyond back in time, and looks like he's fighting Batman. So the timeline is in jeopardy because of that. I got a large haul, and I'm not sure if I think this is pretty much all of it from a sale this past weekend at our Galaxy that was doing a 40% off sale on back issues. And really cool thing is a big part of this stack, or a good part of this stack, I was able to almost completely fill my amalgam run. And for those of you who might be a little bit younger or don't remember it, in the mid 90s, Marvel and DC did a Versus 4-issue miniseries where they actually sent out ballot cards to local comic shops, which was really exciting back then as like a 19-year-old at that time, filling that out, and it being like Batman versus Captain America and Superman versus the Hulk and Wonder Woman versus Storm. I remember sitting in my room filling out the card, and it may have been my senior year in high school, so I may not have been 18 yet. And my uncle came in because it was some sort of family function. He asked me what I was doing. It's like, oh, I'm filling out this voter card to determine who wins in these different fights. And he's like, oh, okay, well, who's on the card? And I told him, the Batman Captain America one. And he goes, well, who are you voting for? And I was just like, well, Batman, obviously. And he goes, really? Like, you think Batman could take down Captain America? And when you're a kid and you're thinking about it, and you're like, Batman is the best, because when you're a kid, Batman is the best. But then when you really start thinking about logistics and things, like, Batman has no special abilities. Sure, he plans for every contingency, and he's got all these fancy gadgets, and he's trained to the peak of human perfection or whatever. But Captain America is a friggin' super soldier. And then what came after that, of course, was the amalgam universe after the 4-issue miniseries where the characters fought. And you got mashups of characters. You got like Lobo the Duck, which I believe was in the second series, which was Howard the Duck and Lobo, of course, which was the most ridiculous mashup you could have possibly done. However, one of the cool things about the Lobo the Duck story was, even though it was issue 1, they did it as if it was I think they said it was either part 5 of 6 or part 6 of 7. So it was just like right near the culmination of like a miniseries storyline. And so they got to basically tell some story that made no sense. It didn't have a beginning, it didn't have an ending, it was just kind of in there, which I think is extremely clever to do, especially back in the 90s when everything was all about like substance, or wasn't about substance, it was all about like flash and dash. And that's Flash and Dash as well, but it's very different than traditional Flash and Dash. But I'll get to it. So I picked up Super Soldier Man of War, JLX Unleashed, the exciting X Patrol, Amazon. That's the Storm and Wonder Woman crossover, if you couldn't tell. And then actually during the crossover, during the miniseries, Wonder Woman actually picks up Thor's hammer and she gets all powered by Thor, which is really interesting because if you take the concept of who she is now, like what we get from the New 52, where she is a god, and then you match that with Thor's hammer, Can you imagine the amount of power Wonder Woman would have if she was who she is now with Thor's hammer? That would be insane. And then there was another little mini that they did, and I got 3 of the 4 issues. I got DC and Marvel All Access 1, 3, and 4. So I need to find number 2 so I can have the absolute complete amalgam run. I already have the mini DC versus Marvel as well. This was something I picked up from Lady T Comic Keys last week. X-Men 193. It is the first appearance of Firestar from Superman or Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends cartoon series in regular continuity. My friend Demi, who is working with Sacred Chaos Comics, got me a couple copies of Abigail, and it's one of their first books that Sacred Chaos put out. Extremely interesting story arc. They're working on issue 2 right now. Demi did not work on issue 1, but he's going to be editing on issue 2. I cannot wait to read this, so I'm going to put this right here in my pile, so I'll read it right now. It's a post-apocalyptic future where people are given the power of gods, but it's all done through corporations and government, and so in order for people to survive, they basically have to accept these corporations and their powers as gods, which is really not that far off from where we are in this world right now. So it's a very interesting parallel. Continuing with what I picked up, I got the Wizard Slingers number 0. I know I picked this up when it first came out because I had a subscription to Wizard for several years. Got a lot of their 1/2s and things like that as well. Then this was something I had asked about when I was at the shop, and they pulled it out and found it for me. Mankind number 1 from Chaos Comics. I'm not a huge Chaos Comics fan now for a lot of different reasons, but I remember reading this shortly after it came out, and it was just very, very entertaining and interesting. There was also a B cover, or possibly the A cover, but it was a photo cover of Mick Foley in his Mankind costume. But this is just a really, really interesting read, and it was very in conjunction with everything that Chaos was doing at the time. But that's actually not even all the Chaos books I picked up, because back in the day, the only character from Chaos that I actually liked was Chastity. And they actually had 3 number 1s, which was pretty cool. They had, this is, I believe, Theater of Pain, Lust for Life, or Love Bites, and, this is Theater of Pain. I don't know which issue this is, but 2 copies from Theater of Pain and then 1 from Love Bites. A lot of these are going for really high dollar amounts on eBay and Amazon. It's really crazy. And I don't understand why. There were a lot of printings of it. And while it was a fun story and a good story, I don't get why it's being sold for like multiples of cover price right now. I mean, there are people selling it for $10 and $20 an issue. And, it's a fun story, but at the same time, it's just like as far as I know, there's no movie specs or anything like that. And right now, that's the really crappy thing about comic books. That's what's driving resale value and value of books. About the only books that are not being driven by some sort of movie or video game or Disney Plus speculation are really, really well-written books, and this is the other side of it, books that are being adaptations of movies or video games. So to me, it's really problematic that that's what's driving the industry, because people aren't collecting to collect because that's the characters they like, or that's a book they're missing, or that's creators that they like. People are buying up books because they want to have something that's worth money. And when you're a retailer, that makes sense. You want books that you can retail and resell for multiples, but it doesn't make sense to do it if you're just a collector, because a lot of these books, after a while, like a lot of the movie spec books don't hold value. Just letting you in on that. There's not a ton of movie books where the characters that weren't already like Silver Age or Golden Age books or anything that had value to them already, that are retaining their value. And that's the thing. Like it doesn't make sense for somebody to pay hundreds of dollars for something that in a couple of years after the movie either gets made and doesn't do well, or gets made and people forget about it, or doesn't get made, because a lot of movies go into pre-production, don't get made. And then all of a sudden that book's worthless. Collect what you want. Collect if you want to, speculate that a book's going to be big time. That's fine. And you should collect how you want. But to me, it seems kind of crazy to chase after something big that you're not really going to enjoy anyways. Which is why this week I'm going to start canceling a lot of my subs, because it's stuff that I'm just picking up every month out of habit, and it doesn't make me happy. So there's no reason to keep buying it unless I feel like, oh, this book is hot and it's going to make money, or something along those lines. To me, there's just no reason for that. If I can save 20 or 30 bucks every month, that's 20 or 30 bucks I can save. But that's me. That's what I'm trying to do with my life right now. So, although this gigantic haul will probably say otherwise. I got Legion of Night, book 1. So now I have both parts of this with the book that I got from the Buy It Now dollar auction the other day. These were all dollar books, like some classic X-Men, early Image, like Wildcats 1 through 3, Youngblood 0. I'm not a Rob Liefeld fan, but I mean, for a buck. Actually, it was 20 books for $12, so I'm going to count that as one of my 8 free ones. Ultraverse Prime. I don't know why I love the look of these books back in the day, but it brings back some nostalgia as well. And when you look at like superhero, just look at that dude. Like, that is ridiculous. That's like Megaton Man, except he's in proportion. Like, he doesn't have little stick legs, which is kind of funny. And then I picked this one up too. I think it's pronounced Ram, but it's from Megaton Comics, which is kind of cool. Some of the other more keys, I got a Sabrina number 5, which is kind of nice. A Ghost in the Shell Ashcan supplement from Wizard. America number 1. And while I was looking this up on Key Collector, because I had it already, I bought it off the racks. This one shot through the roof. I had it marked at $40 the last time I was selling it, and nobody picked it up. And all of a sudden, the B second print Jamie McIlveen cover, sketch cover, jumped to $120. And this isn't even graded. Like, this is fresh off the rack, went into a bag and board. I mean, this is going to be a high grade if you were to send it in, which is pretty awesome in and of itself. I just thought that was really neat, because like, I'll look up stuff to see if it's gonna be hot, especially because I do non-con and I want to try to bring things to people who want them. Chamber of Darkness. I didn't have this ready for my show. I should have, because I wanted to have horror books ready. Catwoman 56, Adam Hughes cover. Death of Super Babe from Spoof Comic, issue number 1. Super indie. I got an older Wonder Woman 219 bondage cover. Didn't seem too broken up about it. Wonder Woman number 15. It's a great cover too. Kind of one of those reverse negatives that they're doing a lot of right now, except it's double color reverse negative, but it's still really interesting, the concept of that. Wonder Woman 92. This is the first Artemis as Wonder Woman. This is when Artemis takes on the role of Wonder Woman. I got a Micronauts number 9. Really nice looking copy. Alpha Flight number 1. Second series. Suicide Squad number 50. Cool, like zombified horror book. Chamber of Chills number 18. Howard the Duck King Size Special. Love me some Howard the Duck. Batman, The New Adventures, or just Batman 412. Introducing the mime. And Marvel Team Up, Spider-Man and Howard the Duck. So that's going to do it for part 1 of this haul. I'm going to record the second part of this video because it's already 15 minutes long. So I hope you guys are staying safe. Stay tuned for the second part of this monster haul, and we'll be back with you. And if you're liking what you see, please be sure to like and subscribe and share the videos. Still really, really far away from ever being monetized with doing this, but it is a lot of fun, and I do enjoy getting people's feedback on the different books that I've picked up and the different thoughts and feedback and stuff, and just to hear what people have to say. So please check it out. Again, upcoming this Saturday, we're doing the Bubba Patrol issue 3 release party, and I've been practicing some remarks with some paint pens, and they're starting to come out really, really good. So I'm really excited about being able to bring that to you, but I'll go into details with that in a little bit. All right, you guys stay safe, wear your masks, wash your hands, sanitize your hands. If you haven't already dropped off your ballot, please, please do so tomorrow. Tomorrow is election day, and we are, my sister and I will be here in Tucson doing the election defenders for Tucson, Arizona, just trying to help people make sure they're able to vote and vote safely, regardless of who or what they're voting for, because I believe in that principle. Sure, there are certain people I'd much prefer to be in positions of power, but I do believe in somebody's right and ability to vote. So please exercise that right. And if you haven't voted and you go in tomorrow to the polls, please maintain social distancing, wear your masks, and be prepared for some long lines, because it's probably how it's going to be. But until the next part of this video, this is the Anti-Hero signing off.